Hi, everybody. Ali Duzette here, and I wanted to talk really quickly about the energy of debt. Oh, this baby Danielle, by the way, she's turning 8 months this week, so happy birthday, baby. But just in the past couple of days, I've had numerous people private messaging me across various platforms about money, about fears of running out of money, struggles with the crushing load of debt that they're facing and not knowing how they're going to get out of it. And so I wasn't really planning on it this morning, but as of 15 minutes ago, I have made plans to do a session just on debt tonight, which I will link below, I guess, once I have set that up, which I haven't even set it up yet. Um, but really quick, I just wanted to talk about the energy of debt because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on with the energy of debt in general and also personally, but let's just talk about it. Let's just talk about it. I haven't prepared anything. This is a kind of spur of the moment thing. But okay, we're going to start off by talking about the laws of the universe. Okay. And I really believe that the laws of the universe kind of transcend everything else in the universe. And I've written about this before and spoken about this before, that kind of all of our religious tenets across religions have this overall goal of getting us into alignment with the laws of the universe. And some of these laws are things like consequences, like if you do something, like you can't stop the consequences from coming to you, right? Choice and accountability, this kind of a concept, and a lot of things like commandments and even just laws that we have, laws of the land, come down to these universal laws. For example, that choice and consequences thing makes it so that stealing is wrong. And when we do steal, we are violating this law of the universe. We're taking something that we didn't earn. And so the universe really runs on this principle of what you put in is what you get out. And you like this principle of earning, right? Um, and this is kind of where the issue of debt comes in, because what is debt at its most fundamental concept? It's when we are taking something or receiving something that we did not earn, and hopefully that we did not earn yet, but that we will earn in the future. But will we? And the big stress with debt comes when we're not sure if we can pay it off, right? When we've overextended and now we don't know how we're going to be able to um, pay it all off, how we're going to replace that value. So I just want to talk about debt as a concept, not even about money, although we all know about monetary debt, because it's very easy to measure. And there's like numbers, you can look in your bank account and see the numbers and make sense of it that way. But just debt as a concept is when we are experiencing the benefits of value that we have not provided first. So, when it comes to money, we are using money that we have not provided the value for. Money is just a measure of value. How valuable is a thing? That is what money is all about. It's about assigning a number, a numeric value, to an emotional value, a physical value. Hey, Tucker. Um, and so that's how debt works. We're taking out stuff that we haven't earned yet on the hope that we will earn it out. And there's a lot of delusion around a lot of debt, actually. As we all know, like I think the student loan crisis is a really obvious one, where a lot of people have taken out student loans for what? I mean, like, look at some of these ridiculous majors out there, and it's like, what were you thinking? Like, what were you thinking? We're spending $100,000 getting a degree that who would ever pay for that? Who's going to pay you to be a professor of, I don't know, like whatever these weird things people are studying? What kind of a job is that going to prepare you for? A lot of times, some of these like crazy jobs, crazy majors, nobody knows. Like, no one knows what, but people are still going into debt to get certified in these different majors, right? And um, that is kind of like a microcosm of the overall macrocosm of um, all of the debt that we find ourselves swaddled in. now, nationally and personally. On a personal level, most Americans carry some amount of debt that is beyond like a house debt or a car debt. And a lot of Americans, I mean, here's the thing. So, on a personal level, many of us are in significant amounts of debt. But on a national level, we are in untold amounts of debt. My 10-year-old was asking me about the national debt just recently, just like yesterday or the day before. And he wanted to know, um, one of my little 5-year-old, he was like, "What would you do if you were the president, mom?" And my my little 10-year-old was like, "She would end all taxes." And I had to say, "Actually, guys, I would love to end all the taxes, but unfortunately, we are in so much debt that if we cut all programs and had no benefits at all for decades, we still wouldn't pay off the debt. If keeping taxes as they are, like we are in so much debt nationally, we're in debt personally, financially, on a religious level, right? We can say that we are in debt to our divine source who provides us with everything. So debt is really a pervasive energy in everybody's life right now, and especially now because there's just so much more to be in debt for. Like in the past, you couldn't. I mean, it's just so much of the stuff we're in debt for didn't even exist. As far as our fancy houses. Like, look at our expensive houses. Even like terrible houses are still so expensive compared to 100 years ago. And but they also have more value, right? We have more value in our houses. We have electricity and plumbing and um, I don't know, Wi-Fi and just all of these different things in our houses that they didn't have 100 years ago, 500 years ago. 500 years ago, just pretty much any guy could just build a house with the materials that he found. No, excuse me. And nowadays you can't. Nowadays you cannot just build your own house. Like maybe you could, but it's probably not going to be a very great house that people really want to live in with our standards of living now. So our standards of living have progressed. Has the value that the individual creates, has it progressed with the amount of value that we expect? Okay. So this is a hey, cool it. This is a really big question because pretty much all of us want to have a lifestyle um, that has a lot of value to it. Like we like electricity, we like plumbing, we like having a clean space and plenty of food to eat. But are we creating value that matches the value that we want out of the system? That is the real question of debt. When we find ourselves in large loads of consumer debt, the real issue is that we have not yet created the value to match the value that we are experiencing. And that is not a fun feeling. Like it's a dangerous thing to have happen financially, and it can weigh you down and bog you down financially, but also on an emotional level, it doesn't feel good to know that we're experiencing benefits that we have not earned. And I do think that that weighs on people emotionally. Like I know for myself, it weighs on me emotionally when I'm in debt, and I know that I'm using the benefits of things that I haven't earned. Right. I think it probably weighs on people differently depending on our different value systems and, ancestral stuff and things like that. Hi, talker. But but the fact remains, we have an innate drive to want to earn what we receive. And when there's a big disconnect there, it can cause emotional distress as well as financial distress. And none of it is very fun. And so this is the question that we're dealing with on a personal and a national level right now with our national debt as well as our personal debt, where how are we going to increase the value that we are providing for the whole world? So I had somebody message me yesterday about this issue. How can I make more money? I'm so stressed about money. I'm so stressed about money. Well, whenever we're stressed about money, the big question we have to ask is, how are we going to provide more value? How are we going to provide more value in a way that other people will honor with a financial investment? Okay, even if that's $5. Is somebody willing to pay you $5? Is somebody willing to pay you $2? Is somebody willing to pay you $10? Why? Why are they willing to pay that? Or why are they not willing to pay that? The answer comes down to value. What value are we adding to their lives? Are we improving their lives in some way, or are we not? If we are improving their lives, are we improving their lives $5 worth, $10 worth, $25 worth? And unfortunately, the question is not always that simple, of course, because um, you might be you might have the capability to add, $10,000 worth of value to somebody's life, but they just don't have the money for that, and then they're still not going to pay you, even though you do have something worth $10,000, even to them. And if it's really and truly worth it, then they'll just go into more debt to get it. But that's what we're talking about. How do we get ourselves out of debt, right? So this is a question that I think everybody needs to be asking themselves when they're dealing with issues of money and debt. What value am I contributing to the world? Where am I not contributing as much value as perhaps I should? And our monetary debt gives a really clear financial number to this problem. Like, we can look and see it in numbers. This is how many dollars of value I have taken from the earth and not given back. Okay, which I know is like kind of a dark feeling, maybe. Um, but that is really what it is when we are in debt, we have taken something from the earth and we have not given it back. So we can look at those numbers and have a pretty clear indication of how much value we need to provide to the planet in order to claw our way out of the hole. Okay. And one thing I want to mention about that is just that I strongly believe that every single human being has an enormous amount of value within them that they can harness and transform into money. I believe that so strongly. And the problem is that a lot of times it's stuff that you don't even realize that you can do or have done that is valuable to other people. As an example, for my healing work, so when I first realized that I couldn't do my work for free anymore and that I was going to have to charge money for it. First, I was in distress and panic mode. You can't charge money for this. And then I just thought, but also, who would buy it? Like, who would pay money for this? And I couldn't wrap my mind around it. A lot of times, we think that people won't pay for our skills because we wouldn't pay for our skills. Guess what? You have your skills. So of course you wouldn't pay for it. You do it. But other people will pay for it. And so a good exercise to do is to kind of think about, just for a minute, what are some things that that you have paid for that maybe other people might think are extravagant or stupid? What have you paid for that other people might think is stupid? So as an example, here's the thing. I never do my nails. I hate it. I hate having things on my nails. I hate having polish on my nails. I hate fake nails. I just hate it. I would never pay for somebody to do that. But guess what? People pay for manicures. They do. They do it. I never would, but other people would. And so, if I needed to, I don't know. I know to become a nail technician takes a bajillion dollars and tons of hours of practice and stuff like that. But like, that's a way to make money that I would not necessarily think of right away because I would never spend money on that. But lots of people do. Or how about dog walking? I don't even have a dog. So that's never something I would pay for. But lots of people pay other people to walk their dogs for them. Even if you wouldn't pay for somebody else to walk your dog, somebody else is paying somebody else to walk dogs. Does that make sense? So just getting out of your own mind and really thinking differently about what kind of value other people pay for can help you start thinking about what kind of value maybe you could offer that other people would be willing to pay for that isn't necessarily obvious right away when you're first thinking about it. Let's just think about that for one more second. I mean, okay, like interior design or decorating, or I know people that they're really good at decluttering, like then they can start a decluttering business. Like there's tons of people that need to declutter and they know that and they're willing to pay for it. What kinds of things do you have in your life that offer value to other people that maybe you don't see because it's just a part of your life? Like you don't even see how talented you are, or maybe you just don't believe that other people would pay for it because you wouldn't pay for it, even though other people totally pay for it. There's a lot of things that everybody can do. And one thing that I would recommend is to look back at your life and some of the skills that you've learned from the experiences of your life and think about how could you teach other people about this? You know, how could you inform other people and educate them about how you got through a major problem in your life? And were you willing to pay somebody when you were going through that trial? If someone had had the wisdom that you later developed through this experience, would you have paid them for that? And how much would you have paid? Okay, so if you had a terrible experience with, I don't know, some kind of health issue, you hurt your knee. It took you 2 years to rehab your knee, but now you're like a knee, you know, genius, and you can know when something's wrong with your knee, you know how to fix it. Don't you think other people with knee injuries would be interested in hearing what you have to say? You know, so there's just a lot of things that everybody can do to add value. It's just a matter of changing your perspective and then creating that value and like making it happen, taking the steps to put it in the hands of other people so that you can be financially rewarded. Um, and I don't know, that's really that's the answer of money. The answer of money is value. How much value are you putting out into the world? How much value are you taking out of the world? How much value are you giving? How much value are you receiving? And debt is just a massive imbalance between the giving and receiving of these two different sides of the seesaw, right? And so we have to find the balance. If we find ourselves in debt, then we know that we've taken out more value than we have given back. And so one thing that I would recommend is to turn to our divine source and ask directly, where have I been taking more value than I should be taking? And what can I do to add more value back into the planet? Okay. And then I always recommend when you connect with the divine that you write down your questions and then you skip a line and write down the answers that you feel. Just like whatever comes into your mind, you just write it down. Don't judge it. And then after it's all out, then you can like pray about it and say, is this right? Did I really get this right? And I'll just say on a religious level, this is how prophets have received revelation for centuries. Like if you look at things like the Doctrine and Covenants, it's a guy writing down a question, listening, writing down the answer, and then praying about it. Is this accurate or not? So anyway, that is what I would recommend, is to really tune in. I mean, like, ask your own body, ask your own self, ask our divine source, where have I overextended? Where am I taking out more value than I'm putting in? And then how can I add more value to the world to match the value that I want to take out? Okay. That is really the big question. Can we add as much value to the lives of other people as we want to experience ourselves? And again, what kind of value are we talking about that we want to experience? The kind of values that we probably want to experience are, a warm house, probably electricity, plumbing, um, maybe Netflix, I don't know, having a computer and internet. All of those things cost money. Maybe going out to eat a couple times a week, that costs a lot of money. Um, all of these things are value, right? And so are we contributing enough value? Are we putting enough in to match what we want to take out? And I'll add, I don't know that you have to provide the same kind of value financially. How do I put this? It's all energy. Everything is energy. Money is energy. That's why we call it currency. It's currency. It's a current. It's an energy flow. And value is not always measured in money, right? As a mom, as a wife, uh, I can personally vouch for that. Not all value is measured in money. Again, I maybe you've seen these studies where it's like if they paid stay-at-home moms to do what they do, how much money would they make every year? And it's like $250,000 because you got to pay them to be the chauffeur and be the maid and make all the meals and food prep and shop and like driving people here and there, and they're like a therapist, they're talking to their kids, all of these jobs that add an enormous amount of value, but maybe not financially. Like you can be a mom all day long and probably nobody's going to pay you for that. um, but you're still adding value. And so what I wanted to say about that is just that I'm not sure that you have to always add value in a financial way. Like I do think that it's possible that stepping up your mom game might add enough value that the universe can flow in more financial resources as well. Like I feel like the principle of adding value to the lives of other people is stronger than the principle of money as value. Does that make sense? I think value, just general value, is the most important thing. How are we going to add more value to other people? And I do wonder if all of us stepped up our value game, added more value to other people's lives, how that would translate as far as helping us to get out of financial debt. Even if you can't, you feel like you're in a spot where you can't earn money, can you add value to somebody's life and just allow the universe to create that flow for you financially? So that is a thought to have on your mind, um, that maybe just adding value of any kind is good enough. And that might be true. I don't know if that's true. For me, I've always been like driven to make money, like to generate it and to work and like, oh, and I love this, volunteer if you have time. Yeah. Do you have time to volunteer and add value that way? Because adding value to the lives of other people, I mean, I feel like the universe respects that and responds to that, right? When we go out of our way to help take care of other people, the universe responds to that and wants to take care of us right back, right? And I say the universe because I feel like it actually is a principle of reality, even more than God. Like I feel like it transcends that. I feel like that is the nature of the reality that we live in. Again, may or may not be true. You check in with your own self and your own beliefs about that, and see for yourself what you believe about that. But for me, I feel like this is a principle of the reality of all things, that the overall reality that we exist in wants, I think it is intelligent, and I think that it wants us to be taken care of. When we take care of others, we get taken care of back. Debt is the energy of you've been taken care of more than you have taken care of other people. Does that make sense? So when it comes to debt, we have a big choice. We get to reduce the amount of value that we're taking out of the system, and we get to increase the amount of value that we're putting into the system until it evens out. Our goal is to even out the seesaw, right? And so anyway, those are some thoughts about debt to have on your mind. How am I going to increase the amount of value that I add to this planet so that I can even out the seesaw? Okay, and if we are in debt, that means that we've already taken out more than we have returned. So we may also have to reduce the amount of things that we're taking out of the system, as well as adding in new things to the system. But as soon as we start transforming our mindset into this mindset of giving, it changes everything. 1 second. Come here, tiny baby. Everything comes down to our mindset, right? I feel like all of reality responds to our mindset. Hi, Tucker. You want to sing to the crowd? Hello. As soon as we have that mindset shift, that instead of worrying about how we're going to keep taking from the system, and start shifting into how am I going to give back to the system and trust that the system is going to take care of me, having that mindset shift, that is the key thing here. That's the really important thing that has to happen. We have to have this mindset shift. Debt is the energy of taking, and it is an energy of scarcity and fear. When we sit there and we're like, oh no, how am I going to pay off my debt? Also, like, how am I going to feed my kids without going into more debt? That's a really worrisome, panic, anxiety energy. It's a scarcity energy, and it's a taking energy. How am I going to get enough? How am I going to get enough? How am I going to get? It's a very taking oriented energy. And when we're in that space, our energy fields contract, they constrict, they make it so that there can't be a flow. And especially when we're already in debt, and then we're still in that space of, but how am I going to get out of it? Fear. That just restricts everything even further. We have to have that shift. Okay, I've taken a bunch of stuff that I haven't repaid. I haven't added the value to match what I've taken. How am I going to give? What am I going to give back? How am I going to serve other people? And one thing that just came into my mind is I've taken a ton of business classes over the years, just like so many of them. And when I was first getting started, maybe like 10 years ago, I read this great article about if you want to learn from somebody like one on one, like if you want a mentor in your life that's going to be like a one on one mentor for you, that you really respect, what is the best way to get their attention? Well, it's to serve them. You think of a way that you can offer service to them, and then you go and offer it. You say, hey, I noticed that, X problem is happening in your business or your life or whatever, and I have a solution for you. And I would love to take care of that for you. And you go in first and you serve without any expectations. And as soon as we start going into the space of service without expectation, it shifts the whole game, because service without expectation leads to um, a desire from the other people to respond and repay. Okay. And that is kind of the big secret of life. If you are willing to work for free, you will be paid. You know, um, that we serve first. We get into our space of how will I give back. So when it comes to finances and money debt, this is something I want to mention. It feels very it can feel very finite because of its nature as monetary, right? Like there's these numbers here. Maybe you're getting like calls on the phone. Maybe you're getting like little mailers about it. And that can just feel so much more real than this like ethereal notion of value in the universe. But money is just energy. It's not really real. None of this is like really, really and truly real. It's all a symbol. It's all symbolic of value. It is all a symbolic message about the value we're taking in and putting back. And so again, I'm going to be doing a session on this tonight, but the big question is going to be, can we, and the answer is yes. P.S. The answer is yes. Can we take our financial debt and kind of translate it into this energetic concept where we can say, maybe I owe $5,000 on paper to these different things. How am I going to, but it's just energy. What is the energy of this $5,000? How can I create the energy of $5,000 to repay? And when people work with debt this way, I mean, this really does happen, and you will see it for yourself if you do this. As soon as they start thinking about it in a different way and start opening up to answers and start being willing to give, and switch out of fear zone, switch into service zone and trusting zone, I'm going to serve, the universe is going to step in for me and take care of this. A lot of times things happen where, the debt will just disappear. I've seen it before, like people's they'll get a message from like the medical debt company that's like, oh, some like benefactor just paid off your debt for you. Okay, surprise. Or they'll say, oh, you know what, this was an error, we didn't mean to do this happened to me. I got this huge bill, a medical bill, I guess 10 and a half years ago now, and I about died. I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, what, we can never pay this back. I thought we can spend 10 years paying this back. How is this possible? Lost my mind, decided to like put my trust in the divine, and a couple days later we got this thing in the mail. Actually, never mind, sorry, it was just a mistake, a clerical error, whoopsie. This can happen. It can happen, but we have to make the mindset shift. We have to shift into trust. We have to shift into service. We have to realize that we have to give as much as we get. That is the flow. That is the flow. And right now, on a national level, we're in a little bit of trouble because we have definitely taken more than we have given. Even though America as a nation is, the most prosperous and like blah, 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 and we definitely contribute enormous amounts of things to the entire world, both in terms of actual goods, but also in services and like concepts and, intellectual property and all of this kind of thing. America's a huge exporter, but we still have so much debt. Why? Because we're paying for all of these things that are taking out way more value than they provide back in return. And this is an energy that we're definitely going to see start playing out for real on a global scale in late February. That's when the first domino falls with America's Pluto return. And so, hey, why do you want to be sad? Calm down. You're happy. Calm it down. Sorry. So anyway, we're all going to be dealing with that. America on an astrological level has our North Node in the 8th house. And that is, well, and in Leo, I believe. I guess I should pull up the chart. But I can't share it on the screen on a YouTube live. But anyway, the energy of this on a national level is going to be dealing with other people's money. All of our nodal path as a nation deals with our money versus other people's money. Do you get to keep what you earn, or are you going to pay it in taxes? Are those taxes going to take care of you? Or are they going to take care of other people, or just like completely other stuff that is crazy? Like, I don't know. My husband was telling me about some weird study that was done, like giving, I don't know, like methamphetamine to pigeons or something. Like, that's a cool $500,000 out of your pocket, taxpayers. Like, what is this, And talk about taking value and not giving anything back in return. That is something that everybody has to pay in the end. Everyone will have to pay for what we did not provide. Everywhere that we've taken and not returned, we will all have to pay for it. But on a national scale, that day is coming. The Pluto return is coming up. So I'll try and link that in the comments as well, or at the end of the video if I can figure that out. I'm like not a YouTube genius, but we'll see what we can do. America's Pluto return is on about February 22nd of 2022. So that's just a few weeks away that we're going to see the first dominoes start coming into play about that. But anyway, okay, thanks for listening to my thoughts about debt. Go forth and add some value, okay? That is your challenge. Start thinking about how are you going to add value to this world, okay? And then we're going to work on that tonight. I'll put the link below. You can go to allieduzetclasses.com, and as soon as I have it set up, it'll be at the very bottom of the page. So that will be a good choice. We're going to get some good work done, work on the energy of this, and my goal is for us to kind of work on what is inside of us that is driving us to continue taking more than we are giving back, so that we can resolve it at the root and start, shifting it all off. Is it possible to give too much to throw the balance off? Because I feel I give so much, but I don't receive what I give. That could be. And one thing that comes to mind with that also is going to be subconscious programming, where if you feel like you don't deserve to receive in respond to what you give, that's going to throw off the equation as well. So we need to make sure that our beliefs are in the right space where we're going to give and receive our compensation. Are you open to being compensated? There's a session that I've done called Resistance to Assistance that I really recommend in that kind of case, because a lot of times people's subconscious minds will reject the good things in life. We push it away and say, no, I don't deserve it. I deserve to give and give and give and never receive. A lot of us have that kind of programming for whatever reason, one reason or another, but we don't have to. So we're going to work on that tonight. Thank you so much for that question. And okay, my baby has made it clear she needs to go down for baby nap. So I'm going to go. Thanks for being here, guys. Think about value. What value are you going to add? Let's go forth and add some more value. Have a great day, guys.